Hey folks, Bill here from Survival War. Back with another video today. This is a redo of my most recent video, the belt pouch survival kit. Um, I didn't realize after editing, checking everything, I did one last final crop, and I didn't realize that took some of the stuff off, put it off camera. So I wanted to reshoot this and give you guys a better angle, and we'll kind of go over through more in depth of everything we have in this kit. There were I believe, two little changes I made to it. Nothing major, but just a couple things that I thought would improve it, and I wanted to put this out before we move on to new content. So this will be the updated belt pouch survival kit. Um, Again, I apologize for anybody who couldn't see the stuff that was off screen. That's why I wanted to upload this and fix that for you guys. So we'll get into it. We have the case here. This is just I believe this is a camera case or something similar uh, that I found at a local thrift store. I think it was a Salvation Army. I only paid, I think, $1.50, something like that for the case. So when you look for deals, you'll be able to find them out there. Just be patient. You can get kits similar to this from VanQuest, Maxpedition, Tactical Tailor. There's a bunch of different companies. Condor, whatever the kit may be. This is going to be based on a similar kit. This kit weighs about 1.5 pounds, maybe 2 pounds. It's not very big, but it isn't nothing. It is a noticeable weight, but I think it's a very capable kit. So we'll get into it. The first thing, we have a fixed blade. I always, if possible, I want to have a fixed blade in these kits, even when I have another cutting tool. This is a neck knife. This is a K-bar Bob Dozier. It's just a cheap, I think it's 8CR13 MOV, or either that or 430 steel. Really doesn't matter as far as the steel goes. I'm not using this as a strike or anything. I want this to be something I can wear around my neck and use to make notches and baton if we have to. Whether it's to make notches, I want something a little harder use than just a pocket knife or a Swiss Army knife. So that's what I want with this. And the nice thing, this right here, as it sits, is almost a standalone primitive fire kit. It'll let you make your bow drill set, along with having 550 cord, which is going to allow you to make your bow. The inner strands and the bank line are usually not going to hold up under the rigors of trying to get an ember and coal with the bow drill. So that's why we use 550 cord. I switched this out. It was black. It's now orange. I don't know why I hadn't done that before, but anytime you have cordage or using cordage in a survival kit, I'd always recommend having orange. It's easy to find. You can take it off, use it as signaling devices if you need to. And on the back of these, I have a couple of these, just some duct tape with a needle behind here for getting slivers, splinters out. You can use the inner strands. Does have a large eye on it, so you can use the inner strands to sew up gear, pants, clothing, whatever it may be if you need to. So this standalone is a decent survival tool. We got the K-bar Bob Dozier. The knife itself doesn't matter much, as long as it's small and able to fit in the kit. I enjoy these Bob Doziers. They're small, and the thing I really like, the sheaths are extremely simple, slim, and make it easy to fit in here. So that's why I went with that. K-bar makes a bunch of good offerings. CRKT, Cold Steel all make good offerings. Even a Mora, something along the Mora lines will work for that. But I wanted something that I could fit right in this little pocket here, so that's why I went with that one. Next up, we go with what I consider one of the 2 or 3 most important pieces in this survival kit. That is the SOL XL bivvy. These bivvies, for me, these are some of the single most important parts of a survival kit. They are multi-use, and they are going to affect one of the hardest things to do, and that is retain body temperature. These are not blankets. They help regulate body temperature by building microclimates with them. Whether it's keeping your clothes on, getting in, using it as a poncho, you can cut a hole in the head in the bottom, wear it upside down. You can also use these to create browse beds if need be. I always go with the XL versions because I am a big man. There's no hiding that. There's no attempt to disguise that. That's why I go with these. It's why I use the XL. The smaller ones are a little bit smaller of a package, so if that's what works for you, you might be able to fit something else in the kit. I like the bigger ones because it gives you more options, and for me, it just works out better. So we have the SOL uh, thermal bivy. Next on the outside, this was one of the two additions along with the paracord, changing to orange. I added just a small sleeve of hooks. They take up no space. I left them in the wrapper because I can use a lighter in the fire kit, use the cardboard and plastic as a fire starter. Uh, I know a lot of people don't necessarily think food procurement is a big deal in a small survival kit like this. Uh, I disagree. You can use these hooks whether it's as hooks to fish or you can set them up to use as snares on animals. It's a little harder to do. They'll rip out a lot of times, but it is doable if you set them up right for a small game like rodents, chipmunks, and stuff. So we do have this. This is part of our food procurement. A couple of small number 8 or number 8 or size 8 hooks. Closing up the outside of the pouch, that takes care of everything on the outside. Going inside, the other part of the food procurement is the slingshot band. Uh, if you've never used a slingshot, this may not be any help for you in here. But if you have used them in the past, they are very simple, very relatively easy to put together. You carve up your stick, use the awl on your Swiss Army knife, drill a couple holes in, cut little notches. You shove those in here once they're through, and you have a slingshot. Hunting with a slingshot is not easy. It is difficult, but in a survival situation, you're going to have time on your hands. Uh, this gives you another option in having projects when you're in a situation like that. The build a slingshot can be very rewarding. It gives you a sense of accomplishment, and it's going to keep your morale up, knowing you have the ability to go out and look for food, and you're not just stuck scavenging for what you find. So we have that with the hooks as our food procurement. Next up, we have our dry bag. I don't have a water bottle. This is a very small kit, so we have a 2-liter Sea to Summit dry bag. This lets you carry water, purify water, and turn this into a bag with some of the other paracord in here. It'll let you carry it as a water bag. A lot of people don't consider using dry bags for some reason. I've tested it out. Get a good waterproof dry bag, and this can be the perfect water source. Yes, you can't boil water in it. Although if you get some of the really heavy duty dry bags, you may be able to stone boil in there. So that's something to think about, but I wouldn't risk damaging. If you get to the point where you run out of water tablets, I would just find the cleanest drinking source and go for it, because you can take care of those parasites, anything that happens once you get out of the survival situation. If ever in doubt, if the water situation is that dire, drink the water, solve the problem later. There's no sense in worrying about some giardia if you're going to die of dehydration. So we have this. In the kit here, we do have aqua tabs. I can pull those out, but we'll wait till we get to those. There are aqua tabs that go with this, so you can purify water in here. Next up, we have a couple of our signaling pieces. A small Vargo titanium whistle and the UST Star Flash mirror. I always recommend having a mirror and a whistle in your survival kit. If you're injured, if you're not mobile, they're going to give you options: 3 loud blasts for the classic S, 3 sets of 3 on the whistle for the blast, and the mirror. Even surprisingly, in foliage, if used right, you can get this to get a pretty good signal still. So these two are pretty self-explanatory: a signal mirror and a signal whistle. And these are on just a reflective neck piece of cordage that hold those together, so you can wear those around your neck and have them with you at all times. Cordage. We got 2 different types of cordage in here. Bank line. So the bank line here is primarily going to be used for shelter. It's not the only thing it can be used for, but that's the primary reason we have it in here. It's easy to get knots that hold when you're using buttons, when you cut buttons or use rocks, pebbles, to use the space blanket in here to make a shelter. That's the primary use of this. The 550 cord, we want the 550 cord because you want, if you need to make friction fire, you want paracord. You want something that's going to be heavier than the bank line or even the inner strands of this. The outer shell of this is the perfect thing to make friction fire sets. We also have enough here to build an improvised pack if we need. Um, we want to be able to construct things into survival situations, whether it's shelter, traps, uh, the inner strand here you can use to make a small gill net. But that's why we have a couple different versions of cordage. Yes, everything that this does, the inner strand here can do, but I like this because it takes up not much more space, and the tarred nature of it just leans itself towards holding knots better. So that's why we have that in there. And there's about 21 feet here. So you got the 21 foot of the outer strand and the 7 strands of the inner at 21 foot as well. Next up, small roll of duct tape. Uh, Self-explanatory first aid, repairs, patching your water bag, building containers. There's a number of things you can do with duct tape. One of the most indispensable pieces of survival gear you can have in a kit. Next up, we have some wire. This is snare wire, but it can be used for a number of things. This isn't a wire saw. This is, you can use this to help create vessels, repair gear again, make traps, snares, a number of different things. It's tiny, takes up no space, weighs almost nothing. So we have, that is about 12 foot of snare wire in there. Next up, we have our file. You guys have seen these in kits before. These are something I started making and putting in all my kits and giving away to people. When you're setting traps, doing fireboards, whatever it may be, having the ability to finely shape and finish wood is a great asset. And that's what this file lets you do. It has different surfaces on the sides, and it is ground here to be used as a flint and steel kit. So finding a piece of chert, flint, shale, whatever it may be, this also lets you use it as a striker. So we have that. This also lets you, when you're setting up figure 4 traps, it's going to let you file those triggers down and make sure they are on a hair trigger. So you, when the opportunity comes to make traps and catch food, that'll make sure you're able to have those traps working properly. Next up, one of the most important pieces of the survival kit, I think, is the Swiss Army knife. This is a Victorinox Forester. This is one of my go-tos. When I'm not carrying this, I might have a Farmer or the Swiss Tool X. If I'm carrying something larger kit, the Swiss Tool X is usually it. But this has all the tools minus the saw that I'm going to need, minus the scissors that I'm going to need, the scissors in the file, that is. The saw and the blade here are the 2 keys. Having a good Swiss Army knife is a must in a good survival kit. Next up in the kit, we could have went with like a small Petzl E-light. I chose to go with a flashlight. I like these AAA Coast. They're inexpensive. You can get them at big box stores, and they work very well. They're very bright for their size. And the nice thing, I always wear a ball cap, so you can pop that tail clip off the section where it goes right there. You can pop it off, mount it up here, and sliding this over your the bill of your cap will make it work as a headlamp too. So it's not perfect for that, but it does work. It's something I've practiced with and tried to do. So having a small AAA flashlight, I run lithium batteries in these so they last. Being able to work at night is a game changer. So extending the amount of time in the day you have to work and affect your survival is a great asset for you. Excuse the noise. We have a tractor going by. That's what happens when we live out here in farm country in Pennsylvania. So a good small flashlight. This is a AAA or a single AAA Coast. There are plenty of other brands out there you can use. Those for the money are hard to beat though. Next up, we have a survival blanket. These are the SOL XL heat sheets. These are not your average space blanket. So a lot of people think with these space blankets, you're getting the flimsy Mylars of the Morse Kohansky days. These are the new style. These are extremely tough. When they get punctured, they don't just fray apart and rip apart. These can be repaired with duct tape very easily and will last you in a situation. These can be used in various setups, making shelters, doing a number of things. So we do that, set those up. You can set up a lean-to version. You can use these as covers to build a microclimate. A number of different options with that. So that's just one of them. When you pair this with the bank line is for holding the knots in the corners of this to set it up as a tarp. These are 5 foot by 7 foot. These are the only space blankets you'll see me carrying. We'll go into that last. We have our water tabs. We have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 here. So that's going to let us fill this up and purify water 6 total times. That'll give us 12 liters. That's going to last a good while for us. And the last thing we have in the case is one of the other most important tools we carry. This is the UST blast match. So we carry this because we want to have the ability to start a fire one-handed. So you grip it, hold it, fire down. That's why we go with this and not just a standard ferro rod. You never know what the situation is going to be in a survival situation. So having the ability to have one-handed fire is immensely important. That's why we go with the UST blast match. There are plenty of videos out there to show how to use these and their efficacy. These have been around for a number of years and have just been proven to work. So that's why we go with that. So up next, we have our fire kit. Outside of a knife, you're in shelter, I think maybe even more so. The fire kit is one of the most important things you can have in a survival kit. This is a pretty comprehensive fire kit. We have a Fresnel lens. We want as many options as possible to start a fire. So we have a magnifying lens. I've showed how to use a lens before to start a fire in different videos. We have our Randall's Adventure survival card in here. It's just an easy place to put it. Yes, there isn't that much information on here, but the big thing I have it on here for are for the signals, the air signals. So you can tell people if you have to leave camp, where you're going, the direction and stuff. That's why we have this on here. There's a little bit of good information on there, and it gives you a small scale here. But it's primarily for those indications right here, the ground to air distress signals. Next up, we have a box of US UCO stormproof matches. These can be used in all weather, whether it's raining, windy, whatever it is, you strike it, it's going to light and it's going to burn until it burns out. These are the matches to go with, in my opinion. We don't have them in the match case because they're in the tin overall. After that, we have the UST Wet Fire. For my money, these are the best fire starters. They're getting harder to find. I don't actually think they make them anymore, but I do have a good stock setup, so I have them, and that's what I use. This is my choice. You can break chunks off of this. You can see this package kind of popped open. You can break chunks off and use them separately, or you can light the whole thing. You can dip these in water. They float, and they burn for about 15 minutes. These are my go-to fire starters, especially in survival kits. We go with the UST Wet Fire. We also have a good Bic. I go with the Bic. I don't go with the cheap lighters. The Bics just work. They are proven, and that's why we go with them. We have a candle because we want to have the ability to create a microclimate with our space blanket and our bivy. Using these three things in tandem, without having a fire, you can create a microclimate in a survival situation. It's going to keep you warm enough and keep you from getting hypothermia. So these three things right here are going to be used in tandem in the scenario videos when we do them later this year. We have a small magnesium pencil sharpener. When your hands start getting cold, this is going to allow you to make fine shavings to use with your blast match or lighter so you can get your fire going. They weigh nothing. They're tiny. They fit perfectly in the kit here. That's why we use them. And last but not least is some heavy duty. Oh, didn't realize I had two of those in there. Last but not least is heavy duty aluminum foil. There's a 4 foot by 2 foot or 6 foot by 2 foot section here. You can use that to create windbreaks, make another water vessel, a cooking vessel, whatever it may be. Folds right up, goes in the bottom of the fire kit. Heavy duty aluminum foil is a good item to have in a fire kit for that reason. Let's see, put this back together. Everything fits nice and perfect in here. Set these right on top. Shut it. And that is the fire kit. This tin's a little busted up, and having the tin here allows you to char materials if it turns into a long-term survival situation. I wouldn't really foresee that, but that is the reason we have a tin. Um, Lastly, the last thing on the kit is uh, it's a little what's it called, lanyard. This has about 12 foot of paracord in it. Just a little bit of extra cordage if you need it. It's connected right to the case. So when we look at this kit, it is not a full-size kit. There are things, if you had more space, that you could add to it. A bigger fixed blade, something like this, the Ontario R-Tac, or even a tomahawk like this. But if you're carrying these, you're generally not going to need to be carrying this. You're going to have a full kit with you, generally speaking, if you're a person that is carrying one of those. This kit is designed for a person who doesn't necessarily take that full gear with them. They're going for a hike and they want to go as lightweight as possible. Yes, you can shed some things from here. You may not think you need the food stuff. That's fine, take it out. Um, but when you're in a survival situation, having the ability to have those small wins, having something to put in your stomach is a huge thing. And if you have that ability, why not take advantage of it? We've talked a lot about kits. There are a bunch of other people out there who put together kits. Guys you can read up on, Kevin Estalea, uh, a lot of other people. You have Moores, my favorite, Bradford Angier, Larry Dean Olson. These guys have all talked about survival kits and went into great depth on them. This is my take on it. I hope having everything here able to be seen a little better was a better take for you guys. And if you have any questions, please drop them in the comments. Again, this kit itself will be taken out. We're going to do these in the